Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Lala Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Lala Jaya Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Randana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Randana Namuna Tira Charina Tira Charina Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam, Caitanya, Srimad Divine Grace, Jai Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Govardhana Krishna Balaram Giraj, Shri Goni Tai ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanandi, Yo Glory to Simula Buddhi. Oh glory to Sri Guru and Sri Guru. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Neta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Neta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Deta Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. Today is an auspicious day, the appearance day of Advaita Acharya, Srila Advaita Acharya. Srila Advaita Acharya ki jai. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we read that at the beginning of creation, the Lord expands himself into 4 expansions, namely Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Shankashan. And Shankashan further expands himself into Mahavishnu. So it's this Mahavishnu expansion of the Lord who is actually the original source of this material creation. Yes. He lies down in the causal ocean, which is created by his perspiration, and he is so gigantic in size. He's inconceivably huge that when he exhales, uncountable, innumerable universes just emanate from the pores of his transcendental body, like bubbles just floating in the causal ocean. Then he further expands himself and enters into each of those universes as the Govardhana Vishnu who lies down on that ocean. And of course, from his navel we know sprouts the lotus flower from which Lord Brahma was born. And then he glances on each of the universes and impregnates all of us jiva souls into those universes. Thus we all take our birth according to our karma from the previous creation. So in this sense, we can understand that the earth is like our mother, and Mahavishnu is like our seed-giving father. So today we're honouring that personality who created this entire cosmic manifestation, our original seed-giving father, who was also that transcendental personality who inspired Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to descend, Srila Advaita Acharya, who is the supreme personality of Godhead himself. Actually, Krishna personally instructed him to appear in the district of Nadia here on earth and assist him in spreading the Sankirtan movement to save the fallen souls of the age of Kali. So, Srila Advaita Acharya, he appeared about approximately 570 years ago, which 70 years before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. It is said that, immediately after his birth, the first words that came out of his mouth were Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And it was noted that even at a very early age, he was a Shrutidara, which means he had a photographic memory. And at the age of 5 years old, he mastered the entire Sanskrit alphabet and became well known as a famous scholar. So he's performing even though he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we can see that he's performing his pastimes as a human being on this earth. There's actually one day when it was after he received his sacred thread, Brahman thread. After that ceremony, his father, he took him to this, it was a Kali Puja festival. And what happened is when he arrived at that festival, unlike everyone else, he didn't bow down and pay his obeisances to Kali, to the deity of Kali. And there was a king there, the local king. He happened to notice this, and he questioned him about it. And the young Advaita, he replied to the king that Narayan, Krishna, is my worshipable Lord. People should simply fix their minds on one worshipable Lord, not become bewildered by so many different philosophies that present so many gods. And what happened is this, soon after this heated debate took place between the young Advaita and his father, in which Advaita was insisting that one should simply worship Narayan or Krishna. And simply by worshipping Krishna, automatically all the demigods and demigodesses will be satisfied. And one's worship will be complete. Because finally Advaita stopped speaking out of respect for his father. He bowed down to the goddess Kali. Then suddenly, what happened to everyone's amazement? The deity of Kali just began breaking up into pieces. So, great spiritual authorities concluded that the Kali became, you could say, highly embarrassed that her Lord was bowing down before her. So at the age of 12 years, as I said, performing his pastimes as a normal human being, Advaita began studying various branches of knowledge under the direction of a reputed Brahmana teacher. And actually one day a very interesting and wonderful incident took place. You know, Advaita's Acharya's teacher and students, they went to the Ganges to take bath. And next to that place where they were taking bath at the Ganges, there was a large lake. And this lake was covered with these terrible thorny bushes. And also there was many very poisonous big black snakes living in this lake. And right in the middle of that lake was this beautiful lotus flower that was just emanating this beautiful fragrance, which was just spread in all directions. So the learned Brahmana teacher, he said to his students, "Who is able to pick the lotus flower in that lake?" All the students, they exclaimed, "It is impossible. There's no way to get it. It is so dangerous." However, Advaita replied, "I'm not afraid. If you order me to get it, I will get it." The Brahmana teacher said, "There are many thorns thereon, and there is many very dangerous large black snakes, very poisonous snakes. You should not vainly boast that you can do it if you cannot do it." So hearing this, Advaita, he just slightly smiled, and he quickly he ran across the lake, stepping from one lotus flower to another. Then he picked that lotus flower, and then he came running back, stepping on the lotus flowers, and he offered it to his teacher. Yes. So seeing this magical feat, the teacher and the students, they were just struck with wonder. How did he do that? And they asked Advaita, how did he perform this most, we could say, a superhuman feat? And Advaita replied, if someone dedicates his life in devotional service to Lord Krishna with a pure heart, automatically the eightfold yogic perfections all come under his control. Yes. So they could understand that Advaita, he wasn't just like a normal person like them. So, in the course of time, after his dear devotee parents had returned to the spiritual world, Advaita went on pilgrimage to Jagannath Puri, where it is said he became just overwhelmed with ecstasy. Then he traveled to South India, visiting all the holy places and temples. And once again, he became overwhelmed with ecstatic emotion, exhibiting all ecstatic symptoms. And then in Udupi, if you know Udupi's in South India, he met the great saint Madhavendra Puri. And, he was talking to Madhavendra Puri, and he was revealing his concern for the fallen people of Kali Yuga. well, no, what's going to happen to them? You know, people are falling away from religious principles. You know, people are becoming more bewildered by materialism. There might have been a Puri. He showed Advaita a reference in the Ananta Samhita, which read, the son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, who is full in all 6 opulences, will appear in Navadvip in a beautiful golden Gauranga form. And he will deliver the entire world by giving people love of Godhead through the chanting of his holy name. So when Advaita heard that, he went into complete ecstasy. And he began chanting, Gauranga, 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 Gauranga. For many hours he was chanting, Gauranga, Gauranga. Then he made a vow, I'll bring Gauranga Krishna down to this world. So he started intensely worshipping his Shalagram Shila. I mean, he fasted, he prayed, he cried, appealing to the Lord in great anxiety, thinking, oh, when will Gauranga appear so that my mind and body will find some peace and satisfaction? So he did this intense worship, you know, fasting, praying, crying, appealing to the Lord in great anxiety, not just for a short time, but for 52 years he did that before Gauranga finally appeared. And he was thinking, you know, when will Gauranga appear so that my mind and body will find some peace and satisfaction? So he's experiencing this intense anxiety for 52 years, praying to the Lord. Meanwhile, in anticipation of Gauranga's appearance, he opened a school in Navadvip. You know, Navadvip, in those days, it was the center of learning and philosophy. And scholars and people would come, students would come from all over India to study in Navadvip. And not long after opening that school, many respectable scholars came and they accepted him as their leader and teacher. So after some time, you know, like 52 years, Advaita started seeing, he started observing many auspicious signs. And he could feel within his heart that Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu has ascended from the spiritual world. And therefore Advaita, he just became immersed in love and devotion. And he came to that place, to the place where Mother Sachi had mystically given birth to Lord Caitanya. And, you know, Gauranga's bodily hue, it is said, just resembled like a golden moon. His whole maternity room was just illuminated by this golden effulgence. And his eyes were so beautiful, resembling the lotus flame. I mean, his beauty was indescribable. Of course, in the Caitanya Caritamrita, it is said that every feature of the Lord's transcendental body was likened to a tidal wave of luscious splendor that just inundates his devotee senses and just drenches their hearts with unlimited satisfaction. So Advaita was just, when he saw that beautiful form of Gauranga, he was just overflowing with loving ecstasy. And then it was Lord Krishna in the form of Gaura, just smiled brightly at him. And Advaita offered his obeisances with folded hands. And he submitted his prayers. "Oh, my Lord, this servant of yours has been anxiously waiting for you to appear for the last 52 years. Now my long-cherished desire is fulfilled." And then there's a baby Gaura. He smiled and he replied to him, "I am always controlled by my devotees." You know, Lord, even though we see Advaita, he is the Supreme Lord himself, but he comes in the mood as an incarnation of devotee of the Lord. He takes that role. And Lord Caitanya said, "I am controlled by my devotees. My appearance and disappearance is only because of their desire." Yes. So we should always remember that, you know, Lord Krishna and Lord Caitanya, who is a direct incarnation of Krishna, they are the original Supreme Personality of Godheads, from which all other expansions and incarnations, such as Balaram, Narayan, Vishnu, Advaita, Ramachandra, Varaha, Nrsimhadev, I mean, unlimited incarnations. It is said that there are so many incarnations appearing and disappearing, just like waves coming in the ocean. But they've all originally expanded from the original form of Krishna or Lord Caitanya. Therefore we find amongst the incarnations and expansions this mood. It's a mood of servitude towards Krishna and Lord Caitanya. And actually such incarnations are known as servitor Godheads. You know, one day, because there's so many stories there in the Chaitanya Caritamrita. There's one story, one day, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, Advaita saw a spiritual vision of Lord Caitanya in his original form as Lord Sri Krishna. And Advaita, he just became overwhelmed with happiness, and he began glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at this time he was massaging his lotus feet. And then he began to bathe Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet, and then offered puja to him, offered the arati. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he lifted up his feet and he placed them on Advaita Acharya's head. And all the devotees present were began chanting the holy name of the Lord, a big ecstatic kirtan. And then Lord Chaitanya, he requested Advaita, please chant the holy name and dance. And Advaita, he got up and he happily began to dance and chant so gracefully, so full of love and divine humility for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya. And then he sat by Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet. And Lord Chaitanya requested him, Advaita, please ask from me a boon, a benediction, whatever you want, I will fulfill your desires. Which means that Advaita could have asked for anything. But Advaita humbly said, "O my Lord, all my desires today are fulfilled. For today you allowed me to dance for you. And you have appeared in this world in your most beautiful golden form and given me your personal darshan. Thus all my desires have been fulfilled." But Lord Chaitanya insisted, "No, please, ask for a boon, Advaita. Ask for a benediction." He was insistent. Then Advaita said, "Let it be so. Oh my Lord, you have come to deliver so many fortunate souls in this age of Kali. By your Premanam Sankirtan, the chanting that gives love for Krishna. My desire, my request is that the most sinful, lowest, most wretched souls of this Kali Yuga receive love of Godhead by your mercy. Let your holy name be resounding everywhere for the deliverance of everyone, even the most fallen, wretched souls." So Lord Chaitanya, he replied, "On the basis of your request, all living beings, despite their fallen condition, will have the opportunity for the highest liberation. Krishna Prem, pure love for Krishna." So we see, actually, when you study the life of Advaita Acharya, you will see that everything that Advaita Acharya did was simply to reveal to the world the glories of the holy name of Krishna and to induce the fallen souls to chant Hare Krishna and take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, because he is non-different to the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotional service, he is called Acharya, or one who teaches by example. So he is the Lord, and he is the incarnation of the Lord coming as a devotee. So whenever the Lord personally descends to this earth in his human-like form, we can see that he sends ahead his eternal associates. And they act in different roles as his mother, his father, his teacher, his guru, his servant, his friend, and so many different transcendental associates who act out so many different roles. So prior to the Lord's appearance, we see this. Advaita Acharya appeared 70 years before Lord Chaitanya, also Jagannath Mishra, his father, Sachimata, Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, who became Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master. They all came to prepare for Lord Chaitanya's advent into this world. Yes. So I mean, the glories and the attributes of Advaita are just, you can say they're just unlimited and inconceivable. You know, Lord Chaitanya, he spreads his Sankirtan movement and he delivers the world through, it is said, through his principal limbs, like like Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu. And, there's so many stories here in the Chaitanya. I mean, before Lord Chaitanya moved to Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya, he came and he stayed at Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur. And so many devotees came there to get the Lord's mercy. And every evening, Advaita Acharya would lead this ecstatic kirtans. And for many hours, these kirtans would go on. And Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Haridas Thakur, all the assembled devotees, they would just chant and dance ecstatically for hours and hours and hours on end. And while they were having these ecstatic kirtans, Advaita Acharya would sometimes turn around and catch the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and say to him, "For many days you have escaped me by bluffing, but now I have you in my home. I will keep you bound up. I will keep you here forever." So this festival, it went on for 10 continuous days. And there was huge feasting going on after the kirtan. They'd have a huge feast. And the chanting for the pleasure of the Lord. Advaita put on this beautiful festival. In this way, Prabhupada mentions that all the opulences of Advaita Acharya, he was setting the example of the perfect grihasta. Everything that he had in his possession, his faith, his devotion, his home, his riches, everything else that he had possessed was successfully utilized in the worship of Lord Chaitanya. However, what happened after those 10 days? Everything was arranged for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to set out to move to Jagannath Puri. And of course, all the devotees, especially Advaita Acharya, they were just in complete dismay. Because, they were so attached to Lord Chaitanya. Their love for him was just they were just overwhelmed with love for Lord Chaitanya. And the thought of him going away was just tearing their hearts. Advaita was just weeping. He was just crying out of the thought of intense separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Lord Chaitanya began his journey, Advaita Acharya was following him. He couldn't leave him. However, what happened is after some distance, Lord Chaitanya, he stopped and he turned to Advaita and he said, "Please pacify all my devotees and also my mother, who are feeling such intense separation from me in my absence." Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he embraced Advaita Acharya and he sent him back and then proceeded on to Jagannath Puri. Yes. And of course, after Lord Chaitanya had finally wound up his pastimes here in the earthly realm and departed from this world, it is said that Advaita Acharya was just feeling so much intense separation from Lord Chaitanya that just to see him, one's heart would melt. Now, he would not eat or drink or speak for days and weeks on end, sometimes with tears in his eyes. He would be calling out like a madman, "Oh Gauranga, where are you? Oh Gauranga, where are you? Where are you?" No, his only happiness, or the only thing that kept him alive, was the chanting and remembering the names of Gauranga. Then one day, at the age of 125 years old, he told his dear disciple and friend, "I cannot tolerate this separation from Gauranga any longer. I will soon depart from this world." And then he told his dear disciple and friend, "Please inform Gauranga's dear devotees about my desire and bring them all here." So soon after, all the devotees from round Navadvip, they all came and assembled. And Advaita, he addressed them all. He said, "You are all very dear to me. Please carry out this one instruction. My desire is you preach the glories of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, his qualities, his teachings. Now," he then requested all the devotees, "chant the names of Gauranga." And there was this huge kirtan. It is said the waves of that Sankirtan began to expand, intensify. Everyone was chanting and dancing. And Advaita, at that time, he was started manifesting all these symptoms, ecstatic symptoms of love of God. He was shedding torrents of tears out of love, and he started shouting out very loudly. He was calling out, "Where is Gauranga? Where is Gauranga? Where is Gauranga, my life and soul?" And then suddenly he exclaimed, "I found Gauranga. I found Gauranga." And all his hair stood on end. Then he just frantically ran to the temple of Madan Gopal. And after entering that temple, he mysteriously just disappeared from everyone's vision. And the devotees were rushing here and there, looking for him. And they realized that Srila Advaita Acharya, he's returned to the spiritual world. And all the devotees, they were just crying piteously, rolling in the dust out of feelings of intense separation from Advaita Acharya. They loved Advaita Acharya so much in their hearts. So the next day, everyone took bath in the Ganges. They held a great festival in the honor of Srila Advaita Acharya. So today, on this auspicious day of Srila Advaita Acharya's appearance, we have our opportunity to express our gratitude to the Lord, who appeared in such a wonderful way to reveal the glories of the holy name, to reveal the glory of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it is said, the best way we can worship and please Advaita Acharya is by becoming a pure devotee of the Lord, and by honestly and sincerely chanting the holy names of the Lord and preaching the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu far and wide, and also humbly serving the Lord's devotees. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki. Appearance Day of Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. Would anyone like to add anything or would like to say anything? Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki jai.